This is not just a story. This is a heartbeat of a girl who lives far from home. Her name is Sarah, a young soul who left her small town and loving family to chase a dream in a big unknown city. But what happens when the lights of the city can't replace the warmth of a mother's hug? What does it feel like to miss your little brother's smile and your sister's laughter while sitting alone in a hostel room? This story is not just about learning English. It's about learning life. It's about tears, strength, memories, and a heart that never forgets. If you have ever missed someone, if you've ever felt alone, if you've ever chased a dream, then this story is for you. So take a deep breath and listen, because Sarah's voice is about to take you on a journey you will never forget. My name is Sarah. I am 18 years old, and I live far away from my home. I came to New York City from a small town in Texas to study English and build a better future for myself and my family. I live in a small hostel room near my college sometimes. I look out the window and see the city lights, and I wonder what my little brother Jason is doing, or if my sister Emily has learned how to ride her bike. Every night before I go to sleep, I close my eyes and try to imagine my mum's voice. She used to call me sweetheart and tell me everything will be okay. Her hugs were the warmest place I ever knew. In this hostel room, I have books on one side and my mom's photo on the other side. I study hard and I read every word out loud. I practice English every day. I say simple sentences like I miss my family or I want to go home. Sometimes I feel strong, like I can do anything, and sometimes I feel broken, like I am a small child again, lost and alone in a big world. But I wipe my tears and remind myself that I came here for a reason. I call my family once a week, and when I hear Jason's voice, he says, "I miss you, Sarah," and I feel like crying, but I hold it in. And I say, "I miss you too, buddy. Be a good boy and help Mom." Mum always tells me that she is proud of me and that I should not worry about them. She says, "Just focus on your dreams, Sarah, and one day you will make us all proud." Some nights, I sit on my bed with my headphones in, but no music playing, just the silence around me, and the sound of my heart beating softly. I remember how Mom used to brush my hair while telling me bedtime stories, and how Emily used to sleep next to me holding my hand. The hostel walls are cold and the city noise never stops sometimes. I whisper to myself small sentences in English like, "I'm okay," or "I can do this," or "I am not alone," even when I feel like I truly am. At college, I try to smile. I try to talk to people. I say words like "hello," "how are you," or "my name is." Sarah and I come from Texas, but sometimes my voice feels small and weak, like a drop in the middle of a storm. I eat lunch alone most days. I remember how we all used to sit together at home. Jason always made a mess and Mom used to laugh and say, "He's just a boy, let him be." And now I sit with sandwiches and silence. Every evening I light a small candle on my desk and look at our family photo. I speak to it as if they can hear me. I say, "Today I learned new words," or "Today I felt stronger today. I missed you so much I could barely breathe sometimes. I wake up early before the sun rises and I write small English sentences in my notebook. I write things like I miss my mom or I want to hug my sister or I need to be strong for my family. When I walk to college, I see people laughing, talking and living their lives, and I wonder if they too have someone far away. Someone they miss, someone whose voice they want to hear just one more time. I remember when Jason gave me a drawing before I left home, he said, "Sarah, this is you and me and Mom standing in the garden," and I keep that drawing folded in my bag like a piece of home. I carry with me everywhere. In my English class, my teacher once said to me, "Sarah, your voice is soft, but your words are strong," and I smiled because that was the first time someone here saw the real me and not just a quiet girl in the back row. Every weekend I go to the library. I sit near the window and read storybooks written in English sometimes. I don't understand all the words, but I guess the meaning. I feel the emotion, and that makes me feel alive. There was a day last week when I felt completely lost. I had a test in English grammar, and I studied all night. But still I couldn't remember the rules, and when I sat in the class I froze, my hands were shaking, my eyes filled with tears, but I didn't let them fall because I could hear my mother's voice saying, "You are strong, Sarah," and I believed her even when I couldn't believe myself. After class I went to the park near my hostel and sat on a bench alone. I watched the birds fly freely in the sky and thought how lucky they are. They have wings, they can go anywhere they want. And I have no wings, just dreams and books and a voice that misses home more than words can ever say. That night I wrote a long letter to Mom. I didn't send it, but I wrote everything I said. I miss your smell, your soft hands, your warm smile. I miss the way you used to say, "Sarah, everything is going to be okay," even when it wasn't, and I miss hearing Jason run through the house shouting, "Look at me. I'm flying," even though he was just jumping off the couch. Learning English is hard, but missing your family is harder. I keep repeating words like believe, achieve, understand, but sometimes all I want to say is help me, love me, hold me. And those words are not in the textbook. They are in my heart and they echo through my soul every night. When I sleep, I dream of home. I dream of sitting with Emily brushing her hair while she tells me about her silly school stories. I dream of Mom cooking in the kitchen and Jason asking every 2 minutes, "Is dinner ready? Is dinner ready?" And I laugh in my sleep. But when I wake up, my pillow is wet and the room feels even more empty. One evening I saw a mother and daughter in the grocery store near my hostel. The girl was about 7. And she was holding her mom's hand so tightly, like if she let go the whole world would fall apart, and I just stood there staring at them, wishing I could go back in time and hold my own mother's hand just for one more moment. I remember the last night before I left home, Mom packed my bag and kept reminding me to take care of my health and study well, and she smiled the whole time, but her eyes were Red, and I knew she cried after I left, and I felt like my heart was being pulled in. Two directions, one toward my dreams and the other toward my family. Every day I make myself say 5 new English words out loud. I stand in front of the mirror and say them slowly with meaning. I say courage, distance, homesick, lonely, and survive. These words are more than vocabulary. They are pieces of my daily life. They are parts of my story. Sometimes my classmates talk about parties or movies or weekend trips, and I smile and nod, but inside, I feel like I live in a different world. I am not just here to pass time. I am here to build a future, and I know my sacrifices are not small. I know one day they will mean something big. On Sundays when I wash my clothes and clean my room, I remember how Mom used to fold my shirts with so much care, and how Jason once put a frog in my laundry basket and laughed for hours. I miss those silly moments, the loud house, the laughter, the mess. I miss the chaos of love last. Monday was a hard day. I missed my morning alarm and ran late to class, and on my way, I dropped my notebook in the street, and when I bent down to pick it up, the wind blew my pages away. I stood there in the middle of the road, chasing my words, feeling helpless, like my life was scattering, and I couldn't hold it together. When I finally reached college, I sat in the hallway, quietly breathing, trying not to cry, and my teacher passed by and said, "Sarah, you okay?" And I nodded, but inside I wanted to scream. I wanted to say no. I am tired, I am alone, I want to go home. But I just kept smiling, because sometimes silence feels safer than truth. After class, one went to the college language lab and listened to English podcasts. I repeated phrases like never give up and believe in yourself. And I kept saying them like a prayer, like maybe if I say them enough, they'll become true, and I'll feel stronger again. At night, I sat with my phone in my hand looking at my mum's number, but I didn't call her. I didn't want her to hear the weakness in my voice, because I know she already worries too much. I just sent her a text saying, "I love you, Mom," and she replied within seconds saying, "I love you more," and that message made me cry harder than anything else. I remember one summer night when we all sat on the roof of our house. The sky was full of stars, and Jason was asking 100 questions about the moon. And Emily was trying to count the stars, and Mom just smiled and said, "Children, this is life right here. This is what matters." And now when I see stars through my hostel window, I whisper those same words to myself like they're a memory I never want to lose. I try to keep myself busy. I read books and write small paragraphs in English like today. I cooked rice and it tasted bad, or today I missed home more than yesterday, or today I smiled but it didn't reach my eyes. These sentences are my therapy. They help me understand what I feel. They help me survive. Sometimes I stand in the hostel kitchen watching other girls laugh and cook, and I remember how Mom used to let me stir the soup even when I messed it up. She said, "Learning is messy, Sarah. That's how we grow," and I hold that line like a treasure. Learning is messy, but it's worth it. There was a day last winter when I woke up feeling cold, not just because of the weather, but because of the emptiness inside me. I wore my jacket and scarf and walked to college through the snow with my hands in my pockets and tears in my eyes thinking about how Mum used to wrap a shawl around me and say, "Stay warm, my love," and that voice kept ringing in my ears all day long like a song I couldn't turn off. During break time, I sat alone near the vending machine holding a cup of tea and watching other students laughing with their friends. And I wondered, do they also have someone waiting for them at home? Do they know what it feels like to carry a heart full of silence and still smile? Do they know what it means to be brave without looking strong? That evening I had a video call with my family. Jason showed me a card he made for me that said, "I love you, Sarah," with hearts and stars and crayons all over it. And Emily told me she won first prize in her art competition, and Mum just sat there, smiling, but her eyes were wet, and I knew she missed me just as much as I missed her. And we all just stayed quiet for a few seconds listening to the sound of nothing but our hearts beating across the distance. After the call, I sat on the floor of my room holding my pillow close to my chest, and I repeated English sentences to myself like, "I can do this. I am not alone. My family loves me. My dreams matter. I can be strong. I can make it through this. I can rise. I can shine." And with every line, I felt my voice grow louder and my fear grow smaller. The next day in class, the teacher asked me to read a paragraph aloud, and I was nervous, but I stood up and I read slowly, carefully, word by word. And when I finished, the whole class clapped and my teacher said, "You are improving, Sarah." And that moment felt like a sunrise in my soul, like someone had finally seen the fire I was trying to protect from the wind. That night I looked at my calendar and realized I had been away from home for 6 months, 6 long months, without my mom's cooking, without Jason's laughter, without Emily's hugs, without sitting on the porch watching the sunset with my family. And still, I was here, I was breathing, I was growing, I was surviving, and maybe that meant I was stronger than I thought. There are days when I feel okay, and there are days when I feel broken, but I never give up. I write new words every morning, like hope, courage, family, faith, and I speak them into the air like I'm planting seeds in the wind, hoping they'll bloom into strength when I need them the most. One morning, I woke up to the sound of birds outside my window, and for a second, I thought I was home. I could almost hear Jason shouting in the backyard and Emily playing her favorite songs on Mom's phone, but when I opened my eyes, I saw the same small hostel room with my books on the table and the calendar showing another day far from the people I love. I sat up slowly and whispered to myself, "Today, I will smile even if I don't feel like it today. I will learn something new today. I will be kind to myself." And I kept repeating those sentences like prayers, soft and steady, like I was trying to hold my own heart together with words. At college we had a speaking test and I was terrified. I had prepared for days, practiced every sentence in front of the mirror, recorded my voice and listened again and again. But still my hands were cold and my voice was shaking. But I stood up and spoke. I said, "My name is Sarah. I come from Texas. I am here to learn English and make my family proud." And when I finished, my teacher smiled and said, "Well done." And that felt like the most beautiful award I had ever received. That evening I wrote in my journal. I wrote about the time Mom taught me how to make pancakes, and the first time Jason said "I love you" with chocolate on his face, and the way Emily used to sing loudly even when she forgot the words. And I wrote every memory like a poem, trying to capture pieces of home on paper so they never fade. I walked to the lake nearby and watched the water move so slowly, and I whispered English words into the wind. I said love, family, distance, strength, and I watched as those words floated into the cold air and disappeared like small pieces of my heart being sent back home, one by one. Sometimes I feel like a puzzle missing too many pieces. I try to fit into this new world, but something always feels incomplete, like I am wearing clothes that don't belong to me, like I am speaking words that almost feel right, but not quite home. But still I try every day. I read English books even when I don't understand all the words. I listen to songs and write the lyrics down. I speak to myself in the mirror. I look at myself and say, you are doing great. Sarah, you are getting better, you are not alone. And slowly those words begin to feel real. Last night I couldn't sleep. I kept turning from one side to another. My mind was full of voices and memories. I could hear Emily laughing. I could hear Mom's voice calling me for dinner. I could hear Jason running around the house, and I just lay there under my blanket, holding my pillow tight and whispering soft words in English. Like I missed them, I need them, I loved them. I felt like I was floating between two worlds, one where I live now, and one where my heart still belongs. In the middle of the night, I got out of bed and opened my notebook. I began writing sentences not from a textbook but from my soul. I wrote, I am scared, I am strong, I am far, but I am connected, I am learning more than just language. I am learning how to live, and those lines made me cry, but they also made me feel alive, because even in my sadness I was growing. This morning I woke up early and went to the kitchen. I made tea the way Mom used to, and I stood by the window holding the cup close to my face, breathing in the steam and thinking about home. I remembered how Mom used to wake me up with a kiss on my forehead and say, rise and shine, sweetheart, and now I have to wake myself up with no kisses, no voice, no hugs, just a clock and a cold room. When I reached college, I saw a group of students sitting together laughing and eating, and for a moment, I felt invisible, like I was just passing through this place without leaving any mark. But then I remembered what Mom always says. Sarah, you are not here to be seen by many, you are here to be known by the right ones, and that thought gave me peace. During the English lecture, the teacher asked us to write a paragraph about someone we miss, and I didn't hesitate. I picked up my pen and wrote about Mom. I wrote about her kindness, her strength, her smell, her soft hands, her tired eyes, her comforting words, and when I read it aloud, classroom went silent, and I knew they felt what I felt even if they never met her. After class, one of the girls came up to me and said, your words touched my heart, and I just smiled, because sometimes you don't need hundreds of friends. Sometimes just one person understanding you is enough to make you feel like you belong. In the afternoon, I went to the library. I sat in my favorite corner with a book of short English stories. I read slowly, carefully, underlining new words and writing their meanings, and as I read, I imagine telling those same stories to Jason and Emily one day in perfect English while sitting in our backyard and hearing them laugh just like old times. At night, I video called home. Jason was wearing a superhero cape and he said, I am protecting the house until you come back, and Emily showed me a picture. She drew of me standing in front of a big school, and Mom just looked at me and said, you're doing good, my child, and her eyes were soft but full of strength, and I wanted to reach through the screen and hold her, but all I could do was say, I miss you, and hope it was enough. After the call, I sat on the floor and cried, not because I was weak, but because I had been strong for too long, and sometimes even the strongest hearts need to release the weight they carry. And I whispered to myself in English, I am allowed to cry. I am allowed to fall. I am allowed to feel. And I am still brave. There was a moment that evening when I looked at myself in the mirror, and for the first time, I saw not a lonely girl, not a broken student, but a warrior, a daughter, a dreamer, someone who is building something out of nothing, someone who is turning pain into power and silence into stories. I opened my window and looked at the stars, and I whispered, thank you to the sky, to the wind, to the memories, to the journey, to the words that kept me going. And I felt something deep inside me shift like a small light being lit in the dark. Every day now I make time to speak to myself in English. I say things like, I'm proud of you. I am getting better, I will make it. I will succeed, I am not alone, and those sentences feel like invisible hands holding me, lifting me, helping me stand again and again. On weekends, I go to a nearby park and watch children play, and I imagine Jason running with them, and I smile, because even though he's not here, his spirit is everywhere. With me, he is part of my story, and so is Emily, and so is Mom, and I carry them like treasures inside my heart. Sometimes I sit on the grass and write letters to them. I write, Dear Jason, today I learned the word brave, and I think it belongs to you. I write, Dear Emily, today I smiled at someone and thought of your smile. And I write, Dear Mom, today I didn't give up because I knew you wouldn't want me to, and I keep those letters safe because one day I will read them aloud at home. There are still nights when I feel the ache in my chest, when I miss home so much that it hurts, when I hug my pillow and pretend it's Mom, when I listen to recordings of Emily's voice just to feel close to her, when I replay Jason's videos and laugh through tears. But I let myself feel everything because this is real, this is my life, and I am proud of it. My English is not perfect, but it is better, and my confidence is not complete, but it is growing. And my heart is not full, but it is healing, and that is enough for now, because I know I am on a path that leads somewhere beautiful, and every step I take matters. When I look back now, I don't just see pain, I see growth, I see courage. I see a girl who came to a big city all alone and stayed. I see someone who could have quit, but didn't, someone who could have disappeared but decided to shine. And that someone is me. And if you are listening to my story, if you have ever felt alone, if you have ever missed someone so much it burned inside you, if you are learning, if you are hurting, if you are hoping, then know that you are not alone. We are connected by our stories, by our pain, and by our dreams. This is my voice, my truth, my journey, and I am not ashamed of any part of it. I am learning, I am healing, I am growing, and even in the darkest nights, I still believe in the light, I still believe in love, I still believe in home, and one day I will return, not as the same girl who left, but as the woman I was always meant to become. And if this story touched your heart even for a moment, then close your eyes and send a prayer for Sarah, and for every soul far from home, still learning, still growing, still loving. Because sometimes the quietest voices carry the loudest strength. And if you want to hear more stories that speak to the heart, then don't forget to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to the channel so you never miss a voice that feels like your own.